Okay, so let's get started by showing you guys the ingredients. So you're going to need some garlic, cilantro, limes, a butternut squash, basmati rice, chicken broth, creamy peanut butter, frozen peas, yellow onions, green onions, and some carrots. You're also going to need some olive oil, curry powder, ground cumin, ground red pepper, and salt. You will not be needing the black pepper. The first thing you're going to want to do is cook your rice. You do want to have your rice cooked before you put it into the soup. And then you're going to start prepping your vegetables. I always start with the butternut squash because it is the hardest to work with. You're going to peel your butternut squash. I use a regular vegetable peeler. It works great. You want to kind of go from the top of the squash and work your way down using back and forth kind of sawing motions. You guys can see here, even I struggle with this. This is a very slippery vegetable, and the size of the vegetable is so big that sometimes it is harder to work with. So be very careful while working with this. So once your butternut squash is peeled, you're going to cut the ends off, and then you're going to cut the entire squash in half. And then you're going to take the bottom half of the squash, you're going to cut it open, and you're going to open it up to see seeds. It's going to kind of look like a pumpkin, and you're just going to scrape those seeds out, and then you're going to start to cube your butternut squash. Once again, be very careful. It is very slippery, and it is a little bit of like a firmer texture, so it's a little bit harder to cut. But you're just going to cut that into cubes. I am making double the recipe because I like leftovers, but I will leave the original recipe linked in the description box down below. Here, I wanted to show you guys how much squash I had left over on the right, even after I used the whole 4 cups that the recipe called for. Now I'm just going to chop my onions. You just want to chop these vertically. Then you are going to peel your carrots. I'm sure there is a way easier way to peel carrots than this, but I always just use the peeler. This is how I've done it every single time I've made this recipe, but you could probably peel these a little bit easier than this. Then you are just going to cut your green onion. I just like to make them into thinner and smaller pieces so that it's easier to eat. You don't want these long strings of onion in the soup. It's a little bit harder to eat that way. Then you're going to get cooking. So you're going to put some olive oil and your onions in a pot or a Dutch oven, and you're going to cook those down until they get really soft and translucent. They should look something like this. And then you're going to add your minced up garlic and your spices. You're going to add, you're going to stir all of your spices in with your onions, and you want to make sure that it's coated really well, and you're going to stir this constantly for about a minute. Then you're going to add your chicken broth. If you wanted to make this vegan, you could definitely use some kind of vegetable broth, and the whole entire soup would be vegan. This is the only thing that makes it not vegan. Then you're just going to add your cubed butternut squash, and then you're going to add your carrot, and you are going to stir all of this together to make sure it's all combined really well. You're going to bring this up to a boil, and then you're going to cover it and lower the heat and let this cook for about 20 minutes until your butternut squash is soft. So once it has been 20 minutes, you're going to just uncover it, and you're going to test your butternut squash just by simply putting a fork in it. If your fork goes in really easily, then it should be done. You guys can see how easily my fork just went into that. That means the butternut squash is done. And you're going to, at this point, add your frozen peas, let that cook for about a minute. And then you're going to stir that up just to make sure that your peas are nice and incorporated. And then you're going to add your cooked rice. And here I'm just adding the peanut butter. I would highly suggest you start with less peanut butter. I don't even use half of what the recipe calls for because I think it is too strong of a taste. If you like the taste of peanut butter, you may want to add more. I would suggest starting with less. Then I'm just going to add my green onions and my cilantro to finish this soup off. And that is pretty much it, you guys. That is the soup. It's really easy. You just want to stir it together. If you want to leave it sitting there simmering for a little bit just to really marinate those flavors together, that is perfectly fine. But you can serve this immediately. It is so delicious, and it's one of our favorite meals during the winter. It is my favorite soup ever. I make it all the time, and I do double the recipe so that I have leftovers for the entire week. You're just going to serve this up. And then the best way to serve this and to top it is to squeeze a little bit of lime over top, and that is it. So delicious, and I encourage everybody to at least try this recipe out. Okay, so Matt is going to be the taste tester for this video because, ignore the dogs in the background, they smell food and here they come. But he's going to be the taste tester in this video because I look horrible. So he just got home from work and the soup is done, and he's going to try it for me and let me know how he likes it.
It's definitely fresh.
Oh, well, I would hope so. Hot.
Super hot, but very, very good.
Do you like it?
I love it. Ow.
Good.
After having so much outside weather today, and it's been kind of chilly today, this is perfect.
Thank you.